recording this session. I will stop the transcription, however, because that is always extremely vague. I'm sorry, there's a bit of a weird lightning going on at the back. So yes, for those who have joined late, I just mentioned I'm Martina van der Walt-Ehlers, the module coordinator for COM3705. We are having our first live Q&A session today. As I've mentioned, both in the announcements on my UNISA and as well as the email that was sent out, the purpose of today, and apologies, I am getting so many people for some other reason who are joining outside of the organization, just general. If you want to join these sessions, please try and do so from your using your My UNISA account. Otherwise, we do have issues with people stuck in the lobby because this is obviously sort of a Teams that's organized within the organization. Okay, without further ado, I thought that the best way to start will be just to run through the exam portfolio and its questions. I have received quite a few emails. I am replying to them through the course of today and tomorrow. As I've mentioned now, we are hosting quite a big conference here at the department is hosting it, and it's here at the university. So we have been a bit swamped with that, but I'm getting to the emails as we go, as I see them, and I have picked up on some general sort of frequently asked questions that I see that a lot of students seem to ask me the similar type of question. I'm going to switch off my video now and then just quickly share my screen so that we can just have a quick look at that exam portfolio. So just give me 1 second. Okay. As I have the exam portfolio up now, I won't be able to see if you raise your hands. So please just keep your questions for after I've run through the exam portfolio brief. You'll see some of it is sort of repeats what you already know. This particular exam portfolio consists of 2 questions. You need to structure your portfolio as you would any assignment. So you will have a title page and you will have a table of contents. And I'll chat about the table of contents. Now you are actually going to structure the portfolio now, but the portfolio should then also conclude with a list of sources consulted. So the structure is the same. Please switch off your mic. Yes. I'm still hearing a mic on. Just give me a second. Let me just see who that is. Okay. No, that's fine. Okay, so yes. Let's just quickly return. So you don't need to include a general introduction and a conclusion. You'll see that you only need to answer what is in the questions itself. And each question, because it is structured as essays, will have its own introduction and conclusion. So you don't need to do an overall introduction and an overall conclusion for the whole exam portfolio. Please adhere to all the technical presentation requirements. Go to your CMN work through it. As you are typing your assignment and you're unsure about something, take that 301, quickly look through it. If it's on in a separate window on your computer, make sure you get your technical presentation requirements right. That's 10 marks. It's 10% of the total. That's quite a lot. It's unnecessary to lose those marks. Then no plagiarism will be allowed. So copying and pasting directly from sources, that's not, we won't allow that. So even if you provide an in-text reference, you cannot copy and paste directly. You need to either paraphrase, but yes, no direct plagiarism. And then a big concern, obviously, is the unethical use of AI-generated text. And therefore, you will once again include the plagiarism or the AI declaration I will post an announcement on my UNISA now, just to remind you about that. So it's not the previous plagiarism declaration, it is the new AI declaration. And that declaration actually gives you the opportunity to explain how you used AI, if you used it. Because yes, you are allowed to use AI. Something like Grammarly is AI, and Grammarly helps you in checking your writing, for example. So we will not penalize you for using Grammarly to just check whether your tenses are correct, whether your sentence structure makes sense. But what we will not allow is the unethical use of AI-generated text. We have several state-of-the-art AI systems that can see whether AI was used, and it is as simple as uploading the PDF, and it immediately picks up when AI was used. Something like ChatGPT, something like Claude. There are many others. And we also do not allow synonymizers. There are so many students that use synonymizers, and the synonymizer is a system that changes the words. So they would take paragraphs from an article and just put it in a synonymizer, and then it'll change certain words into synonyms. The issue with that is we pick that up immediately, because even if it's a synonym, not cinnamon, a synonym, it doesn't make sense. So please do not make use of this. Do not be, don't be guilty of the unethical use of AI-generated text. You will receive no marks for your exam portfolio, and you will, in other words, not pass this module. And remember, because it is an exam portfolio, there is no opportunity for a supplementary. That is only for the exams that are written, only for the timetabled exams. So there is no opportunity for a supplementary. So do not get yourself in a situation where you get no marks because you've used AI unethically. Okay, so we have two questions. The first one deals with international relations. There is a short, it's basically only, not really an article, it's an excerpt, and then several prescribed readings. So it is once again based on the relations between South Africa and the United States, which have become quite fraught since the inauguration of US President Donald Trump at the beginning of the year. There have been several incidents that have taken place, and this sort of builds then, in a sense, so it is sort of a continuation of what's happened earlier in the year. And this is now looking at the G20 summit to take place in November. So you will see, I said previously, you don't need to include a general introduction and conclusion for the whole exam portfolio, because you will have an introduction and conclusion for each question. So that is for 2.5 marks. An introduction and conclusion, the aim of the introduction is to include the overall topic of this particular question and explain what you are going to do. So you'll say, in this essay, I will look at the overarching topic of international relations, with particular focus on the diplomatic relationship between the United States and South Africa. I will look at, in particular, the use of social media, etc., etc. So that is what you do in an introduction, and your conclusion is basically going to echo your introduction. You're going to say, this is what I did. So you can take your introduction, reword it a little bit, and that they sort of echo each other. For an introduction of 2.5 marks, you will write about 1/3 of a page. I would say, let's say 6, 7 lines, 8 lines. Then the second question there, define social media and provide an example of social media that the United States of America used to share information. So this is both a theoretical and a practical question. When we say provide an example, you cannot only say whichever social media platform, you have to explain a particular example. You don't need to necessarily include, for example, a screenshot. That would be great if you can do that, but you will not be penalized if you don't do that. Then, in which situations can the government or the president use social media platforms? Explain whether it was appropriate, And then, considering the news article provided, critically discuss the term that describes the formal channel of communication in which representatives of two countries meet to discuss their relations. Your discussion can include the types of communication channels and practical examples of these communications. So each of these questions has a theoretical aspect to it and a practical aspect to it. Please, I always tell students, keep that mark allocation in mind when you start writing to make sure that you write enough information. Moving on to international communication media. This one deals with radio broadcasting and film. Once again, several prescribed articles that you need to read through. And it is once again structured with an introduction and a conclusion. And then the key areas that you should address. So it's the developments in international radio broadcasting and the influence on radio broadcasting as we know it today, prominent international radio broadcasting stations and their impact, how film has transformed the entertainment industry, and the impact of Nollywood on Nigeria. So a lot of these questions will be based on information from your study guide. At the same time, you will also be taking... Mac, please ask that you switch off your mic. Thank you very much. So yes, as I was saying, a lot of the theory will be from your study guide, but then you will also be taking a lot of information from the prescribed articles. And as I've mentioned, your technical presentation is 10 marks, so that's 10% in total, for a total of 100 marks. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and now open the floor for questions. What you can do is you can just raise your hand. You'll see that there is a little option at the top that says raise your hand. Alternatively, you can type in the chat if you feel more comfortable with that. So this is your opportunity. As I've mentioned, come prepared with questions. This is now where I am giving you the opportunity to, yes, to engage and ask me anything you might want to know. I'm not seeing any questions at the moment. Is everyone good? I think what I want to mention, as you might think, Tumelo, I'll get to you now. I just want to quickly mention that important in terms of the structure, I said that I will talk to that, is I've received several questions. Yes, we say write an essay. More than welcome to answer each of those questions in essay format. An essay is very simply that you have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Alternatively, use the numbering, but then remember your table of contents need to reflect what type of structure you are going to use. So if you are using the numbering, those numbering, excuse me, please switch off your mic. Thank you very much. Yes, so as I said, you can either then use the numbering provided for you in the exam brief, 1.1, 1.2. You will have a general 1 with international relations, 1.1 introduction, 1.2, a very brief heading based on the content of the question. So don't repeat the whole question as a heading, something more briefly. And then you can move on like that. So you can choose either one. Obviously, for the sake of marking, it is easier, I will admit, if you use the numbering. We say essay because then students are immediately in the mindset of writing paragraphs, like writing in full sentences. Remember that we caught out a lot of students in assignment 1 who used ChatGPT because of the copious amounts of bulleted lists. ChatGPT is very, very fond of providing information in bulleted lists. We do not award marks for bulleted lists. You need to be writing in full, complete sentences and paragraphs, like it would be an essay. Okay, Tumelo, do you still need to come in with a question?
Good afternoon, ma'am. No, sorry, I'm answered. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. I saw another hand, but it's down now. Tatum, I see you could please. Yes, Sipho, go ahead. Okay, I'll first take Sipho. Remember to switch on your mic, Sipho. Yes, hi. I think your mic's on. I just can't hear you at the moment.
To remove the headset. Am
No
I
worries.
audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I'm a bit confused on the question of imposed, ma'am, because here in question 1 it said we should define social media, an example of social media at the United States. So my question is, where do we get the story, this article talking about the tariffs from America that were increased?
You need to do your own research. This is it's very well known that this was taking place earlier in the year. So you will need to go and find the relevant information.
Okay.
Yes, that is what you will have to do for that.
Okay, I can also use any website as long as it's credible.
Yes, as long as it's credible, that's correct.
Okay.
And remember to reference it.
Okay. No, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let me raise my hand.
Okay.
Okay.
And switch your mic off, and then Letago, you can go ahead. Hey, Letago, you just remember to switch on your mic. While we wait for Letago, whose hand is up, I see, Tatum, you've asked, could you please guide specifically in question 2, where a lot of information comes from unit 3, how to properly in-text reference the study unit? Okay, that is included in your tutorial letter in the CM and all 301, but for the purpose, what I can generally just say when you are referencing the study unit, you are referencing the author in text, the author of that particular study unit. So whether it was Lesame, whether it was, I wrote a chapter for that study guide as well, whichever, you will use the author, and then you will have the study guide as a single source in your list of sources consulted, but you will also have that particular chapter or study unit listed then alphabetically under the surname of the author of that study unit. So you will have both the study guide and the particular chapter in your list of sources consulted. I hope that makes sense. I see there's still a raised hand. Letago, do you want to come through or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Apologies. I had
No
briefly stepped
problem.
out of the app. I briefly stepped out of the app. That's why I couldn't answer before.
No problem.
I noticed this is something that I just want to get out of the way, so that I'm no longer like confused. I noticed that on the UNISA app, under the assignment, the assessment, the portfolio, it says that this portfolio is due on the 29th. But when I go to the Moodle app, it says it's due on the 24th. So that's something that's confusing me a bit.
It's definitely the 29th. I don't know why it is different. I will go and double check the system again, but we changed it officially to the 29th through all the necessary systems. So the exam portfolio is due on the 29th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions at this moment? Okay. I think for the interest of time, I do know that it is a lot of students' lunch break now. I don't want to take up your whole lunch break. If there are no other questions now, remember that we have another session on Monday. And yes, email, you can email me, you can email Dunisani. And you can, yes, you can pose your questions to us via email, or join the second session. And then this recording will be placed on my UNISA. And there will also be an additional, additional information tomorrow on question 2. So just keep an eye out for that. It will be posted through the course of the day. Yes, so if there are no other questions now, I don't see any hands, then I think we will end the session. I really appreciate your attendance today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your commitment throughout the semester in working hard. And then, as I said, please just drop me a mail. I'm just going to remind you as well, we do not use that message toggle service. So please do not, please be reminded to not use that if you have questions. Please send an email and do not use the message toggle system that's on my UNISA. We did send out a message earlier, and I know that most of your lecturers in your other modules would have communicated that to you as well. Okay, thank you very much, students. Good luck with your final preparations. For those who joined late, just a reminder, the exam portfolio is due on the 29th. Apparently it is showing as the 24th for some students, but it is most definitely the 29th. It was officially changed by the powers that be, that is the assignment section. Okay, I will maybe chat to some of you again on Monday. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week, students. Bye-bye.